Hey everybody, I already left a video this morning on YouTube and Facebook just about this could be our moment, our Gethsemane moment. Excuse me. But the Lord has been speaking to me even before that also about some things in the financial realm, especially with ministries. So if you're a believer, you got a ministry or something like that, um, I feel the Lord wanted me to just drop a video of some encouragement to you. So, a few years ago, probably about 5 years now, Shane and I were in full time ministry, which means we relied on ministry to survive and live. Not just, I mean, we had no excessive stuff. I mean, we were on food stamps, we had government insurance, we helped the community. I mean, we worked with the courthouses, we worked with stuff, so I didn't feel as bad really getting paid that way. Not getting paid, but, at least having that assistance because, the courthouse didn't pay us and the county didn't pay us, and we were basically doing time there for them. But so things weren't really easy at all. It wasn't like we were sitting back collecting all this fine money and stuff. But anyhow, but our ministry and our lives depended on donations and support for the ministry. And there were seasons where donors would come and go. And I'll never forget, it was late winter. It was probably January, February, maybe. Could have even been early March. We lost a donor that was donating $600 a month. And Shane and I have just witnessed, at this point, God's provision in a way. Like, he promises to provide what we need, not what we want, what we need. And that's where we need to trust. Shane and I, when we moved to that town of Emporium, we had $7 to our name. And God provided meals through friends. God provided so much. And we weren't really that obedient to him at that point of our lives. We were still drinking. I still smoked weed once in a while. And we really weren't into ministry at that time. But God's provided from the beginning, even before the beginning. He didn't create man with no provision. He's been the provider before the creation of man, and he'll be the provider of eternity. We're not going to be working at Kmart. We're not going to be, that was me leaning on the horn. We're not going to be working at Kmart in heaven, and even if we were, it would be God's provision. Anyhow, he would be the manager or the CEO signing our checks. So anyhow, I see there's a lot of stress. I see there's a lot of desperation. There's a lot of looking desperate. How are we going to come up with this money? How are we going to, survive and support our families or whatever? And we just need to trust the Lord. Desperation is an ugly witness to those who really are trusting in us to exhibit Jesus. And we've been there. Shane and I have been there even prior to that. Like, how's this going to work? I'm not saying we've always got it right, but we witnessed God do things in many ways. But one of the things that he taught us was the difference between our wants and our needs. We lived in a back room of a tattoo shop for a while. For years. I think it was almost 2 years that we lived there. Having one room, really, personally, to sleep in, and then everything else was our business. It doesn't look pretty all the time. It's not about our standard of living. It's about us living. Believe it or not, New Testament Christians are not spotted by all the stuff that they have. It's about the way they handle situations, whether they have or they don't have. And I'm here to tell you that God will provide. We just need to have faith in him. We need to trust him. When Jesus sent them out, remember, he said, take with you, don't take 2 tunics, take nothing with you, I'll provide on the way. He wants us to depend on him. And, Shane and I were confronted one time with really nothing. Like, we didn't have anything. Bills were due. And at that time, someone came to me and asked me to do a simple favor. And that favor would have involved me moving drugs one time, which would have paid our bills and then gave us a cushion. And this is when we believed in the Lord. And it didn't take me long to be like, I mean, it would have been easy for me. I've always been good at selling drugs back in the day. Uh, I knew how to do it. It would have been easy money, but we decided to be faithful to the Lord, and He was faithful to us. Now, nobody's asking you to sell drugs right now, but I will tell you, yesterday was Giving Tuesday 2, so Facebook and had put out a special giving, special fundraising thing. And I think it was terrible timing on Facebook's part. The reason why there's over 3 million people who are out of work. And as much as it's biblical to give, if you have nothing, or you're not, your faith is in your fear and not in God, it's not good timing. And it shows. There just wasn't a lot of giving yesterday. And because many people were scared. Many people don't even have stuff to give. People were unsure of what's going to happen. And the best way that we can walk in faith is to walk in faith and trust our God and just do what we're called to do. And God provided for us during those seasons. And like I said, it wasn't pretty. I mean, we had to learn what our wants were and what our needs were. And our needs were definitely a lot fewer than our wants. We learned a lot of wants that we had. But He restored us. We're in a season of fruitfulness. We've gained some actual financial supporters. Doesn't mean that we're sitting pretty, but we trust that whatever God is doing, He will be faithful to get through us, to go through us. And I was thinking about, for us, and I'm included in this, that are looking to get the gospel to all nations. This came to me in prayer. Shane and I were talking this morning. When Jesus talks about that in Matthew 24, and I used that scripture earlier, and it just came to me later after that first video. He says that, you'll be arrested, persecuted, and killed for my sake, and the gospel will be preached. The gospel will be preached to all nations. A lot of times we think we need to go to these places, and it costs money to go there. What if the gospel gets preached to all nations because we're all in the same prison? If we're going to be arrested and killed and stuff for His sake, maybe the nations will come to us instead of us having to go to the nations. It's just something to ponder. But as far as financially, trust the Lord. He will provide. It gets ugly. I know there's mouths to feed. I know there's bills to pay. But God knows. He says, and you guys know this, anybody I'm talking to knows this. He says about sparrows hitting the ground. They're not even really worth a coin, or they're only worth a coin, but God knows not one of them hit the ground apart from our Father in heaven knowing. How much more valuable are we? And He knows what we need. We need to stand on those scriptures. Not to be desperate, not to be worried, not to try to conjure up or manipulate, because it won't work. Do you know that finances are, I think it's like between 60 and 70% of marriages and divorces happen, like divorces in marriages happen over financial struggles. Keep that in mind when we are with our supporters, and when we with our people, because we're in a marriage, like we're in a relationship with people that support our ministry. So if we're trying to get blood from a turnip, or trying to get something out of somebody that they don't have, there's a good chance that it could cause a divorce in our ministries and stuff. We don't want to lose people. Our whole point is we're in this together, and God will see us through it. But I just wanted to encourage you guys, heads up, God's going to provide, and He always does. He's been the provider from the beginning, and he's going to be the provider through eternity. So let's trust in him and keep pressing on, guys. Love everybody. Just wanted to give you that word of encouragement. Don't fear. He's got us. All right, guys, take it easy.